The court will hear argument with regards to sentencing. Mr. Nicholson, you are not eligible for probation from the court.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Your Honor, this defendant does have a very lengthy and violent criminal history. In 1996, he was sentenced to 20 years for aggravated robbery. That's going to be cause number ending 60 that we entered in today. He was additionally sentenced for burglary of a habitation on that same day. Your Honor, he was sentenced in 1996 to 20 years in the Texas Department of Corrections for those crimes. When he was released, it was not very much longer until 2013 that he committed the offense in States Exhibit 39 for assault enhanced, where he was convicted and sentenced to 6 years. So in 2019, after their 5 years are done, it took him only 3 years to commit this offense, this violent offense, where he shot at an unarmed Uber driver who just happened to be picking up his stepdaughter so that she could go to work. Thankfully, nobody was hurt in this offense, but that's just luck, Your Honor. The capacity for this defendant to hurt people in this community and to hurt his family is shown by the criminal history, and the state is asking that the court sentence the defendant to no less than 40 years on count 1 and no less than 20 years on count 2.
Defense?
Thank you, Judge. I know that we've heard about his criminal history and the seriousness of it. I did want to offer some context to that. The second case, the family violence assault case, I have had contact with two of his family members, siblings, who were not able to be here today. One was a Mr. Paxton and another is a sister, Samantha Romborg. And if I may, they both relate to me. And how, in spite of what you see here today, that Mr. Nicholson was actually so we would ask the court to please sentence him at the minimum.
All right. State, any final closing argument?
Your Honor, the state does appreciate that Mr. Nicholson was young when he committed the first offenses. However, I think that just speaks to his values as prior life. And although the hopes for change are there, according to defense counsel, his actions speak louder than his words. And the court would like, the state would like the court to consider those actions, the harm that he could have caused on the October 25th, 2022, and the harm that he has caused throughout his life.
All right. Is there anything you would like to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Here's the thing. If you want to say something, I'll take you under oath and the state will be allowed to question you. I mean, if you want to discuss it more with your attorney.
My life to be over like this, not being able to say it, but I won't say
No, I mean, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. Once you decide to testify, and I think your defense counsel will tell you there are certain appellate issues that may or may not be waived. So it's completely up to you. If you want me to hear what you have to say, I will hear it. What I can tell you with regards to my clients, sometimes they would want to speak and I would tell them, your family has already told your story. Are you going to say something different than what your family has said? So the state was very generous in allowing your counsel to make a proffer to the court about your childhood. So, but if you would like to say something, it's only fair because I want to be fair to both sides. You don't get to just say something and then that's it. What will end up happening is I will swear you in, you'll be under oath. And if you just want to speak generally to me, you can speak generally. I'm not going to sustain any objections for narrative because sometimes people just want to tell me what their thoughts are and I will listen to them. But that being said, whatever your thoughts are that you want to make sure that I know about, then the state will be allowed to cross-examine. So if that's what you want to do, then we can do that.
I've seen it. I hope. Thank you.
All right.
I guess I would say, I know he feels like he's really in the fight for his life here. And,
No, we're not on the record yet. No,
okay.
we're still off the record. Yeah. All right. So y'all ready to proceed? All right. We're back on the record. Mr. Nicholson, this is what I want you to know. No matter what offenses people are alleged to have been committed in this court, it could be offenses that people think are the worst of the worst. I still see everybody as a human being. And when I look at them, many a times I see them when they first start school, like first grade. And I always wonder what made this one child turn left instead of going right. Some people have horrible childhoods and they turn out great. They have a horrible childhood and their thing is, I'm not going to be this way. I'm going to be on a straight and narrow because I need to do this and that. Some people can't overcome it. You know, life just beats them down. And sometimes when you watch movies, when we were growing up, we would watch movies and you see these two children and you thinking everything's going to turn out great for them. And there's one pivotal traumatic thing that happens in their life and it gets them off track and they're never able to get it back in. For example, with you went to prison, right? People will go to prison and when they get out of prison, they say they're going to do great things. They're not going to get in trouble anymore. They're going to walk the fine line, right? You get out, you say, I'm rehabilitated, and you say, I'm going to get a job. And then when you try to get a job, people look at your history and they say they're not going to give you a job. And so that's one way where society beats you down. And then you keep trying and you keep trying. And then maybe there's a friend who comes along or somebody who comes along and said, hey, here's some easy money. And maybe you have siblings that you're trying to take care of, trying to make sure they don't have to go through what you went through.
Right, I'll just pop in there for a second because I wanted to say, try to think about those two analogies that Judge Boyd has just given in her point that she's giving to this criminal. And now think, how is she going to tie those 2 points together and how smooth it'll be if she pulls it off? So, does she?
But at the end of the day, we all got to pay for our offenses, right?
So the answer is no. Not at all.
Now, do I think that you should get life in prison? No. Right? Your minimum is 25 on the first on count one. It's from 25 up to life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. All right. This is what the court is going to do. The court is taking in consideration the state's argument about his history, because I have to consider that. But then I'm also taking into consideration what the defense said. And I think everybody would agree for someone to be 16 and to end up being sentenced to 20 years in prison. And I'm assuming he did the 16 when he was at juvenile, but once he became an adult, they sent him to prison with adults. So for a child to end up in prison with adults who have all of their issues, I'm sure they looked at him a certain kind of way. But even though that happens, we can't be in a situation where life has beat us down. So therefore, we're going to beat other people down, because then it just becomes a circle. So all of the offenses that you've committed, guess what? That complainant has been traumatized. So there has to be punishment. And you're not eligible for probation. And based upon what I've heard during the trial and based upon what I've heard during this punishment phase, I would not grant you probation, right? Even if you were eligible, because I don't think you're a good candidate for probation. But I also don't think you should spend the rest of your life in prison. All right. So in count one, as previously stated, I'm finding both enhancements true. In count two, I'm finding the enhancement true. In count one, I'm going to sentence you to 30 years in the prison. In count two, I'm going to sentence you to 20 years in the prison. The counts will run concurrently. There's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon, and there's to be no contact with, and the court will order an affirmative finding of family violence.
And I assume then the court will be giving him credit for all time served.
Yes, and you'll receive credit for any time served that you've been in custody. All right, do you have any questions about anything?
Just, I didn't hear you. I don't know if you were doing it or not. The fines.
No, fine. You're welcome. We can go off the record. So, Mr. Nicholson, I know it's a lot of time, right? And you have to do half before you're eligible. But guess what? At the end of the day,
Welcome to my channel.